All right, let's do this. Time to step into the ring.
Oh, yeah.
You ready for this?
I'm ready.
We're diving deep into the world of Eminem's beefs.
The battles, the wars of words.
They're almost as legendary as his music.
Right?
For this deep dive, we've got a couple of sources.
Let's hear it.
One's this hilarious forum post we found, The Many Beefs of Eminem.
Where'd you find that?
It's on section80.com.
Okay.
And the other is from the Eminem Fandom Wiki, straight up titled Eminem Feuds.
Nice. Very straightforward.
So, our mission, should we choose to accept it,
Mm-hmm.
is to figure out why Eminem always seems to be at odds with someone.
Oh, yeah. He's always beefing with somebody.
What went down in some of those notorious battles?
Like, what really happened?
And maybe, just maybe, we'll even uncover what these feuds tell us about Slim Shady himself.
About who he is, what he's about.
You with me?
Absolutely. Let's get into it. It's wild how much his career is defined by these rivalries.
Yeah. I mean, as much as his music...
They go way back, involve so many different people, and honestly, they've really left their mark on hip-hop.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And it's not just other rappers, although, I mean, that list alone is huge. We're talking pop stars, magazine editors, politicians. The dude even went up against the U.S. government.
He didn't hold back.
Seriously, who else can say they've been in a war of words with everyone from Mariah Carey to Melly?
It's a pretty diverse group of people.
Right. It's crazy.
And, you know, that range really makes you think it's not just about publicity or selling records, right? There's got to be something deeper going on.
What do you think?
It's like he has this need to defend his art, his crew, like his whole place in hip-hop history.
Okay, so right away I notice a pattern in these sources. Eminem often goes after his rival's age,
Oh, yeah.
even when the difference isn't that big. Like with Everlast from House of Pain, you know?
Yeah.
The guy's only 3 years older, but Eminem's constantly calling him washed up and over the hill.
Constantly.
What's up with that?
Well, you know, it's actually pretty clever when you think about it. That tactic fits into a bigger theme he uses.
Really? Like what?
Eminem consistently portrays his opponents as past their prime, irrelevant.
Even if they're practically the same age.
Yeah, exactly. It's a total power move. It's how he claims the throne, positions himself as the future of hip-hop.
It's like he's saying, I'm the new king, and you're yesterday's news.
A yak.
And it's not just age, right? He seems to go after people close to his rivals, too.
Oh, yeah, he brings their families and friends into it.
Like a scorched earth policy.
Right. It's like he's widening the circle, drawing more people into the fight.
Seems kind of ruthless.
Sure, it can be, but there's a strategy there, too.
Really?
It's psychological. Attack the support system. Isolate the opponent.
Weaken them mentally.
Exactly. It's a chess match, and he's thinking several moves ahead.
Okay, let's get specific.
Let's do it.
This first one starts out kind of funny.
Yeah.
Honestly, the Insane Clown Posse.
Oh, man. ICP.
Apparently, it all kicked off with a flyer for one of Eminem's early shows.
Wait, really?
Yeah, on the flyer, it said ICP would maybe make an appearance.
Maybe.
And that seemingly casual maybe sparks this whole war of words. Can you believe it?
Oh, come on. That's ridiculous.
It is.
But it's amazing how these tiny things can turn into huge blowouts.
Right.
And this one definitely did.
They went back and forth with diss tracks. It even got to the point where an Eminem blow-up doll got its head ripped off on MTV.
You're kidding.
Seriously. Picture it. An Eminem blow-up doll on MTV.
Getting destroyed.
It's almost too ridiculous to be true.
It's wild.
But here's what's interesting. How it ended. A bowling night. Orchestrated by Proof.
Proof.
Eminem's close friend, D12 bandmate.
Oh, right.
Makes you wonder, even with all the drama, was there still some sense of camaraderie? Like, even in these crazy beefs, maybe there's a recognition that it can go too far.
I think you're right. It shows you there are real relationships underneath all the noise. Proof was known for being loyal, bringing people together in the Detroit scene.
Yeah.
Maybe he just saw the ICP thing as pointless and wanted everyone to chill out.
Yeah, definitely a human side to all of this.
For sure.
Okay, let's switch gears. Eminem versus Everlast. This one got really personal.
Oh, yeah, that one was nasty.
We mentioned he disses Everlast's age, but it all started because Eminem didn't acknowledge Everlast in a hotel lobby.
Seriously?
Imagine that. A snub in a lobby leads to a full-blown hip-hop war.
That's wild.
It is. But it goes to show, egos are fragile, especially in a world as competitive as hip-hop.
Totally. Everyone's trying to prove themselves.
Right. And then they both started going after each other in their tracks.
Yeah.
But Everlast took it way too far when he brought Eminem's daughter, Haley, into it,
That was messed up.
right? To question someone's child like that, super low blow.
Totally agree.
And Eminem, who's famously protective of his family, he just went off.
Oh, yeah, he was furious.
He released Quitter with D12, and it was brutal.
Quitter is a classic.
Right. And this shows another pattern with Eminem. He never lets anything slide.
Nope.
He always crafts these intricate responses,
Yeah.
like he's plotting revenge.
He uses wordplay and humor to just dismantle his opponents.
It's almost like he enjoys the challenge, the art of taking someone down with words,
He's a wordsmith, for sure.
like a verbal assassin.
Yeah, he carefully chooses his words, constructs his rhymes, delivers them perfectly.
It's a huge part of his appeal.
Yeah.
People love that raw talent, that ability to use language as a weapon.
Absolutely. It's captivating to watch. It's crazy these feuds become like these big cultural moments.
Yeah, totally.
They spark all these discussions and arguments, and, they really make us face some uncomfortable stuff
Like what?
about the music industry, about race, about fame, about, what it even means to be authentic.
Whoa, deep. It's like they're holding up a mirror to society,
Exactly.
Show all our biases and hangups.
Yeah.
But okay, before we get too philosophical.
Right, right.
Let's talk about a feud that's pure hip-hop. Eminem versus Canibus.
Oh, Canibus. Now that was a battle.
This wasn't just some random beef, right?
Right.
Canibus is considered one of the most technically gifted lyricists out there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So this was like titans clashing.
Absolutely. And the forum post says it all started because Canibus thought Eminem was ghostwriting.
Wait, what's like writing rhymes for someone else to diss him?
Yeah.
That's next level paranoid.
Well, ghostwriting is like the ultimate no-no in hip-hop.
Really?
It's seen as betraying the art form, like you're not good enough to write your own rhymes.
So basically you're a fraud.
Pretty much. So for Canibus to accuse Eminem of that was huge.
That's a massive
And the
piece.
feud went on for years.
Oh, man.
Diss tracks, interviews. It was relentless. The Post even says Eminem dissed Canibus for being Canadian at one point.
Oh, come on. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Where's the line between a real diss and just like messing around?
It's tough to say, but I think Canibus was dead serious. He felt disrespected and wanted revenge.
Wow. And then it got even darker, right?
Yeah, in 2009,
What happened?
Canibus tricked some D12 members into being on a song.
Oh, no.
And on the track, he disses Eminem and Proof.
Proof who had passed away.
Yeah.
That's just wrong.
It was low, even for a hip-hop feud.
It really makes you think, do these feuds ever truly end? Emotionally, I mean.
It's hard to know.
Right.
But it reminds you, words have power. They can hurt, they can heal. And in hip-hop, words can be weapons.
Okay, speaking of weapons, Eminem versus Mariah Carey.
Oh, here we go.
This one has everything.
Tell me.
Rumored relationships,
Juicy.
diss tracks, public denials, even alleged voicemails played at concerts.
No way.
It's a whole soap opera.
Seriously.
And it's all centered around this supposed fling they had back in the early 2000s.
Right.
And to this day, neither of them has ever outright confirmed or denied it.
Which makes it even better.
It keeps everyone guessing.
It's this endless game of he said, she said.
Right, and it's all played out in the media and through their music.
The fans love it.
It's like watching a tennis match, back and forth.
Totally. Each one trying to top the other.
So, some highlights.
Okay, hit me.
Eminem first mentions Mariah on Superman. Then she seems to hit back and clown.
Oh, snap.
And then things escalate when Eminem plays these alleged voicemails from Mariah at a concert. Can you imagine being there?
Oh my God, the crowd must have gone wild.
It's wild how these feuds become these public events.
Right.
Fans dissecting lyrics, interviews, everything.
Looking for clues, hidden meanings.
It's part of the fun, trying to figure out the subliminal messages, the little jabs.
It's like this big puzzle.
And then it all reignites in 2009 when Eminem drops Bagpipes from Baghdad.
Oh, yeah.
He basically calls out Mariah and Nick Cannon by name.
He went there.
He did.
Yeah.
And then Mariah comes back with Obsessed.
That song is fire.
And she even dresses up as Eminem in the music video.
Oh, come on.
I know, right? Such a boss move.
It was perfect, turning it around on him, making fun of him, while still denying anything happened.
Genius.
Right.
But obviously, Eminem couldn't let that slide.
No way.
So he fires back with the warning.
Uh-oh.
And this one included some pretty explicit details about their alleged relationship. Even sound clips, supposedly from a studio session.
Seriously?
Yeah, the warning is intense.
That's hardcore. Some people definitely felt he crossed a line.
Yeah, it raises some questions like, how far is too far?
Right.
Was he exploiting things for entertainment?
Well, artists do draw inspiration from their lives.
Yeah.
And there's a long history of using music to express heartbreak, anger, even revenge.
Totally. It's like part of the artistic process.
But at the same time, you have to think about the other person's privacy, especially when it's about intimate stuff.
It's tough. A real balancing act.
For sure.
I think each listener has to decide for themselves. Did Eminem go too far? Or was he just pushing boundaries? What do you think?
Honestly, it's a hard one. There are good arguments on both sides. But no matter what you think about the ethics, this feud was huge. Headlines, debates, it all solidified Eminem's reputation as, like, the ultimate provocateur.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay, what's next?
Eminem versus Joe Budden.
Oh, interesting.
This one gets into mentorship and creative control. Joe Budden was a respected rapper, and he's part of Slaughterhouse.
Right.
And they'd signed to Shady Records in 2012.
Yep.
And things weren't exactly smooth.
What happened?
A lot of fans felt Eminem pushed them towards a more pop sound, which, wasn't really their thing.
Didn't really land.
Exactly. So there was already tension. And then in 2017, Budden, who's known for speaking his mind,
He doesn't hold back.
he criticized Eminem's album Revival on his podcast.
Oh, boy.
And Eminem, well, he didn't take that too well.
No surprise there.
He goes after Budden on Kamikaze with some pretty threatening lyrics,
Like what?
basically telling Budden to watch his back.
Classic Eminem.
Right. He never backs down, and he loves confrontation.
That's for sure.
But what's interesting is Budden didn't flinch.
He didn't?
Nope. He responded on his podcast, defended his opinions, even questioned Eminem's relevance.
Whoa, he went there.
So it's this clash of egos,
Yeah.
a battle for respect.
Definitely.
Maybe even a generational thing.
Right, like the old guard versus the new school.
And what's interesting is that, according to the forum, the feud has cooled off.
Oh, really?
Apparently, Budden has even supported Eminem on some stuff lately. Like, maybe there's a begrudging respect now.
Yeah.
They've called a truce.
It's like they both know they're forces to be reckoned with.
Right. But it makes you think, do these feuds ever really go away? Or do they just simmer under the surface, waiting to erupt again?
It's a good question. It's like that with a lot of things in the music industry.
Right. Always competition, always someone trying to be on top.
And that constant struggle to stay relevant.
Okay, ready for another deep dive?
Hit me.
Eminem versus Lord Jamar.
Okay, this one is interesting.
It's really thought-provoking. It touches on race and belonging in hip-hop.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Right.
So what's the deal with this one?
Lord Jamar, from Brand Nubian.
Legendary group.
He's been really vocal about white rappers.
What's he said?
He says they're essentially guests in the house of hip-hop.
Wow. That's a strong statement.
Right. And of course, Eminem, being a white rapper who's been super successful,
In a genre that's predominantly black.
he couldn't ignore that.
Right.
So what did he do?
He addresses it head on in Fall. He basically says, I'm not just a guest, I belong here.
That's powerful.
It is. He's not backing down. He's not saying sorry for his success.
It's claiming his space.
Exactly. And it sparked this huge discussion about cultural appropriation, authenticity.
What it means to be real hip-hop.
Right. It's a huge conversation.
For sure. And it gets even more interesting.
Oh.
The forum post says Eminem actually agreed with the house of hip-hop analogy.
Wait, really? Yeah, in an interview with KXNG Cricket.
Interesting. So it wasn't the analogy itself that bothered him?
It was Lord Jamar's attitude.
Like, how he said it.
Right. Eminem was saying it's not just about race, but respect.
How you act within the culture.
Exactly.
So it's not just about being allowed in the house,
It's about earning your place.
being part of the family.
Correct.
This adds a whole other layer to it. It makes you think about ownership in a genre that's always evolving.
Yeah. Who gets to decide who's in and who's out? Who gets to gatekeep hip-hop?
Right.
Those are tough questions, no easy answers. But it's clear Lord Jamar's comments hit a nerve with Eminem.
Yeah. It forced him to think about where he stands in the history and social landscape of hip-hop.
And it's not just Eminem dealing with this.
Right.
It's a conversation happening all over the music industry. Artists from all backgrounds trying to figure out these questions of identity, representation, where they belong.
It's a conversation we need to have.
It's way overdue.
We need to be honest about the history, the power dynamics.
The inequalities.
Right, the things that have shaped the music industry.
It's a long conversation.
Okay, you ready for this?
Lay it on me.
Eminem versus Machine Gun Kelly, or MGK.
Oh, that one got messy.
It did.
What happened?
And it all started with a tweet.
Seriously?
Imagine 140 characters or less starting a whole hip-hop war.
Only on social media, right.
Right. So what did MGK say that set Eminem off?
Okay, tell me.
Back in 2012, MGK, who was kind of up and coming at the time, he tweets that Eminem's daughter, Haley, is hot as F.
No way!
He tried to soften it, added, in the most respectful way possible, because M is king, but
too late.
damage was done.
You don't talk about someone's daughter like that, especially not Eminem's daughter.
Right. The guy's notoriously protective of his family.
That's like rule number 1?
And MGK later said that tweet got his music banned from Shade 45.
Shade 45?
Eminem's radio station.
Oh, wow. So Eminem banned him from his own station because of a tweet.
That's cold.
It is. Hard to know for sure if that's what happened, but...
But it definitely added fuel to the fire.
For sure. And it shows how seriously Eminem takes disrespect. Especially towards his family.
It's like the line you don't cross.
Right. But here's the thing. Eminem said he didn't even know who MGK was until 2018.
Get out of here.
Seriously. He heard a song where MGK supposedly disses him.
Subliminally.
Yeah, really sneaky.
So we have these two stories, each one claiming they're the victim.
Each one saying they were disrespected.
It's like he said, but with diss tracks.
And Twitter beef.
Exactly. And it all explodes in 2018 when Eminem drops Kamikaze out of nowhere.
Kamikaze!
And he calls out MGK directly on Not Alike.
What'd he say?
Calling him up for using someone else's name to diss him.
Ooh, burn.
It's classic Eminem. Aggressive.
In your face.
Putting someone in their place.
Love it. And MGK, what did he do?
He didn't back down. He hits back with Rap Devil.
Rap Devil.
It went viral. He goes after Eminem's age.
His beard.
His reclusiveness.
Even his manager, Paul Rosenberg.
He went all out.
Trying to make a name for himself by going after a legend.
Maybe.
It's risky.
Right.
Either you raise your own profile or you get destroyed.
And in this case, I think Eminem won. He drops Kill Shot.
Kill Shot.
Widely considered one of the most brutal diss tracks ever.
Oh, yeah.
He obliterated MGK's career, his style. It's savage.
It was a total takedown.
And Kill Shot was a moment. Broke YouTube records. Everyone was talking about it.
Debating who won.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it just cemented Eminem's status as the king of the diss.
The Juliet.
So what did AGK do after that?
Not much, honestly. Mostly just talk trash in interviews and on Twitter.
Couldn't really top Kill Shot, huh?
He even admitted that. Said he had nothing that could match it.
Like he realized he'd been outgunned.
Pretty much. But that doesn't mean he gave up entirely. He still performs Rap Devil at shows.
Oh,
Throws a few jabs at Eminem on his albums.
So it's not really over.
The tension's still there, like simmering beneath the surface.
Man, these feuds.
I know, right?
They never really go away, do they? Just change and adapt over time.
It's the nature of the beast, especially in hip-hop.
Okay, let's switch gears again.
Okay, what's next?
Eminem versus the U.S. government.
Wait, what?
It's a thing.
Oh, man, this is going to be good.
It highlights his complicated relationship with authority.
I can imagine.
It all started back in the early 2000s.
Okay.
A leaked version of We as Americans.
Right.
He had this line, F money. I don't rap for dead presidents. I'd rather see the president dead.
Whoa, that's bold.
It got the Secret Service's attention.
I bet.
And that was just the beginning. This whole Eminem versus the government thing.
No way.
The forum mentions he got questioned by the Secret Service again in 2017.
What happened?
After his Bet freestyle where he went after Trump.
Oh, right.
He even mentioned Ivanka on Framed.
Framed, yeah.
Another Secret Service visit. It's like he's poking the bear.
Testing them.
Pushing the limits of free speech, going right up against the government.
And people love that about him.
Oh, yeah.
It's why he's such an icon. He's speaking truth to power.
He's not afraid to say what he thinks.
Exactly. Even if it gets him in trouble.
But it makes you wonder.
Yeah, but what?
Where's the line?
Yeah.
How far can you go with artistic expression?
Right, balancing that with responsibility.
Free speech versus inciting violence, hatred.
It's a tough one.
And Eminem has definitely pushed it.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
So we've looked at his feuds with other rappers, pop stars.
Busy editors.
Even the government. It's a crazy mix of conflict and battles for dominance.
Right.
And in the final part of our deep dive,
Yes.
we're going to try and make sense of it all.
I'm ready.
Look for patterns, themes,
The lasting impact.
and try to understand what these feuds tell us about Eminem.
As an artist. As a person.
as a force in our culture. It's really interesting going through all these feuds. It's like there are these little glimpses into how Eminem's mind works.
Yeah, I see that.
You see his anxieties, his obsessions, what makes him insecure, things he doesn't always put in his music directly.
That's a great point. It's like he uses these battles to deal with his demons,
Exactly.
to confront the people who criticize him, to prove himself over and over.
Right. Makes you think, are these feuds actually what keeps him creative?
Interesting.
Like, do they push him to be better, to write even more intense music?
It's like a double-edged sword. On the one hand, you've got these amazing diss tracks, the wordplay, the rhyme schemes, the pure technical skill.
Oh, it's undeniable.
It's like watching a master swordsman just dismantling his opponent.
And Eminem is a master, no doubt. These feuds give him a stage to show that off.
But then some people say the feuds overshadow his art,
Yeah, I can see that.
that they distract from the message, make him seem petty or obsessed with revenge.
And that's a valid point.
Yeah.
It's a delicate balance. Each listener has to figure out for themselves, is the entertainment worth it?
Yeah, and we have to remember, there are real people involved. It's not just a game.
Exactly.
People get hurt, reputations get damaged, there can be real consequences.
You can't forget that these aren't just words on a page.
They have a real impact. So as we wrap up, let's recap. What stands out about how Eminem approaches these battles? What patterns have we seen?
Well, one thing is for sure. He is super sensitive to criticism.
Oh, yeah.
He takes it all personally.
He's known for holding grudges.
And for going after people for the smallest things.
Like nuclear-level response to any little comment.
Right. It probably comes from his background, struggling with poverty, addiction, the constant pressure to prove himself.
Always having to fight for his place.
Exactly. So he's always on guard, ready to defend himself.
Protect what he's built. And we see that pattern of targeting people connected to his rivals.
Oh, yeah. Families, friends, business partners, no one is safe.
It's a strategy. Widens the battlefield, creates chaos, puts the opponent on their heels.
And honestly, it's kind of ruthless. He's not afraid to play dirty.
He wants to win.
Exactly. But there's also loyalty there. We've seen how he goes to bat for his crew.
Anyone he considers part of his inner circle.
He's ride or die, and he expects the same in return.
And we can't forget his talent. Lyrically, he's unmatched.
He's a master. Wordplay, rhyme schemes, flow.
He's in a league of his own. And the diss tracks, they're brutal, clever, and often kind of funny in a dark way.
It's true. Like, you're horrified, but you can't look away.
Right. It's like he enjoys taking his opponents apart, exposing their flaws, leaving them in pieces.
But even with all that aggression, there's also a fragility there.
Yeah.
You see it in the feuds with Mariah, Joe Budden, Lord Jamar.
Those were different.
Like, there's this insecurity underneath it all.
A need to prove he's not a fake. A failure.
And maybe that's the engine driving all of this. Not just ego, but a need to prove himself.
To himself, to the world, to everyone who ever doubted him.
It's a fascinating puzzle.
One we might never completely figure out. So, what does it all mean? What's the impact of these feuds? Are they just a distraction, a bad look for him?
Or are they part of what makes him so interesting?
Such a powerful figure. It's up for debate. But one thing is for sure. These battles have shaped him, his music. They give us a peek into the mind of one of the most complex artists out there.
Absolutely.
They remind us that even the biggest stars are human. They have flaws, insecurities.
And they're always trying to figure out this crazy world of fame and creativity.
And these feuds make us think about the music industry, about ourselves, how we use words to build each other up or tear each other down.
It's a lot to unpack.
So as we wrap up our deep dive, here's a final thought. What do you think Eminem's feuds tell us about him? About hip-hop? About our culture?
It's a question worth thinking about, and it might surprise you where it leads. Thanks for joining us on this journey, and keep exploring. There's always more out there.